Have you ever felt trapped in the minor pentatonic box, maybe playing the same licks over and over again? And don't get me wrong, I mean, they sound awesome. There's a reason why we all learn minor pentatonic. But sometimes you just want to add a little bit of spice or a little bit extra flavor into your licks. I'm going to show you one note that you probably should add to your minor pentatonic runs, and it may help you out. But fair warning, it is going to require that we do just a little bit of music theory. So if you're watching this video, you're probably pretty familiar with your minor pentatonic scale patterns. Today we're going to be playing in the key of D minor, and if we're going to add numbers to our notes, it would be something like this. We've got the 1, the 3, the 4, the 5, the 7, and the 8, or back to our 1, are D. Now you'll notice that we skipped note numbers 2 and 6 in that pattern. And that's very important because today we're going to be adding back in the 2. In the key of D minor, that would be an E, G string, 9th fret. You notice that that's just one fret below the little pattern we were just playing. Now technically we're not playing minor pentatonic anymore because pentatonic stands for 5 tones and we've just added a 6th tone. Really, we're dipping into a scale that's called Aeolian, which is just a fancy way of saying the natural minor scale. You remember I said we skipped numbers 2 and 6. Well, if we add those back in, you get the complete natural minor scale. But today we're not adding in the 6. We're not even focusing on that at all. We're just talking about adding in the 2 to your minor pentatonic licks. So for simplicity's sake, we're still playing minor pentatonic, just with a little bit of a bonus flavor notes added in. And the reason I like adding in the 2 is because it adds a little bit of mystery, a little bit of tension to your licks, depending on how you use it. And I like using it in 2 different ways. Number 1, I like starting on this note, bending back into the minor pentatonic box, and now I have a platform to jump off of where I can go anywhere else. So I start on the E and usually have a half step bend up to my F. Pretty simple little half step bend there. Usually I use my pointer finger. But the reason that that's so simple is because you can add embellishments and other notes after that, but it has to start with that core opening. You can add some things like this. So lots of cool variations that you can do with this lick. The other nice thing about it is that it sits pretty well over the chords in this key. For example, the 1 chord, say a D minor 7, it sits really nicely over that because this 2, the E, is the 9 in that chord. You're creating a D minor 9, which is a really pretty sounding chord. It also sits pretty well over a G minor 7 because we're bending up to an F in this lick, and the F is the 7 in a G minor 7. Very strong note in that chord. Let me just show you how it sounds with a couple different variations over these 2 chords. So I know I'm overusing the lick there. I'm using it every single time, but just demonstrating for you that you could do it in many different ways, and it sits really nicely over those 2 chords. So tip number 1, use the 2 as a platform. Start on it, bend back into your minor pentatonic scale, and you can go anywhere else from there. Another really cool way of using this note in your licks is, rather than having it as a platform to start from, actually bend up to it before coming back down. Or bend up to it, linger for a bit, bend an extra half step, and then come back down. It would sound something like this. This lick is a little bit trickier because you have to linger on that bend a little bit longer than the other one, and it's a longer bend that you have to make. So getting the intonation just right sometimes could be a challenge. You'll even notice as I play this lick sometimes I'm a hair flat or a hair sharp, but by practicing it more and more, you'll get more accurate in your bends. And especially when you catch that extra half step, you get a little bit of that Gilmore kind of a flair in this lick. And it sounds really cool, especially over the 1 chord, that D minor 7, because you're lingering on the E and you're really lingering on the 9 in that chord, and it sounds really, really sweet. So use the 2, but bend up to it and linger on it for a bit. And then again, bend up to it and catch the extra half step. So it's kind of cool because it's the exact opposite of what we did in tip number 1. Tip number 1, we started on the 2 and went from there. In this idea, we're bending to the 2 and then going from there. So some cool ideas. The other nice thing about these 2 different licks is that they stand well on their own, but they're also good if you chain them together with some other licks in between and create a longer sequence. Maybe something like this. So there you have it. If you want to add a little bit extra flavor into your minor pentatonic licks, add back in the 2, and you may be able to get exactly what you're looking for. You'll find me using this little trick quite a lot, and it's great for a lot of different styles. Let me know in the comments below if you think this might help you, and if so, please tap that like button on your way out. I've been Joey. There's going to be more great content coming up soon, so until next time, thanks so much and take care.